What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Claudia and this is Katie Counseling. Welcome back. So I am starting to do these short form videos on smaller topics, on counseling, grad school, and everything in between, and the things that I've learned. So let's get started. Before we get started, actually, follow me at Katie Counseling on Instagram. If you have any questions, hit that DM, let me know. I love chatting with you guys, helping you guys figure things out. All right, so today I wanted to talk about how the process has been for me going from being a student to now an intern and, turning into a counselor. How do you go from being a student to being a therapist, right? And like that kind of transition and what it entails, right? So from personal experience, when you get into the program, you have done your undergrad and you know how to be a student, right? You're like, okay, I can do these classes, I'm gonna ace them, I'm gonna do my best, I'm gonna learn, right? So that's how you start. You do all your classes. You get kind of immersed into the information. And that, for me, that part of the program was a little bit easier. It resembled undergrad. I was like, oh, this is an extension of undergrad, but it's easier because it's one topic, right? Because in undergrad, we have so many classes. You have statistics, you have math, you have sociology, psychology, whatever, right? So this was kind of like, oh, okay, this is cohesive, like one subject. Then you kind of hit the real world where they're like, okay, go out there and find yourself an internship. So you get into this mode of finding a job, right? Like the mentality of, I gotta find a job. I gotta write a resume. I have to present myself. I have to go and interview. I have to kind of find a place, like having a job where I actually want to be, right? So you're in this place where you're, confident from what you've learned in school, but at the same time, still a little like uncharted territory where you're like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. Some of us never had a job in mental health, so you're like, I don't know what to expect, right? So that's like the second part. And the third part is starting like practicum, right? Like going from the transition of still doing classes, right? And then upping your load with hours on site. That's why they start you off with like the 120 hours on site rather than the 300 that you do after, and then another 300 that you do your last semester, because they want you to navigate the switch, right? So now you're a clinical intern, you're a graduate student, and you are whatever else you are at home, at work, or whatever else you do, you are that plus 2 other jobs, right? So balancing that is a new, level of the program, because you go in there and you're observing clients, you're taking in all the information, and from this part, this is where I would say like you're learning, and this is why I wanted to make the video, you're learning how to process this amount of information in your brain, and you're like learning how to do this for a living, I guess. Processing clinical information, and the loading thing on a computer. I feel like your brain, when you're a clinician, when you're observing a client, when you're observing a group, you're nonstop using your brain to engage, to find what you're looking for, to observe. So it's a different, and our professors tell us this, it's a different kind of tired, like utilizing your brain in this type of capacity rather than doing other things, right? Once we get used to this type of workload for your brain to process, it becomes easier. But this is what I learned. Like, I've worked in food service, I've run around, I've worked long shifts, and I would get very tired. Like, my body was very tired, but the brain tired I experienced at residency for the first time. So I knew, after 3 days of like intensive learning, I was exhausted, and I'm like, I've never, even with being in grad school and being in undergrad and doing very well in undergrad, I studied a lot, but this is the new level of how much capacity you have to kind of intake, right? Because it's a lot from others. And then you're processing what they're saying, and then you're processing how to help them, you know what I mean? What to say to them. So it is so much of your brain learning how to work in this capacity. So once you kind of adjust to being a grad student, being a clinical intern, then you get thrown into like internship 1 and 2, where you're like, okay, you have the basic counseling skills, you know what it takes, being tired, waking up, using your brain that much. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but you guys will understand if you're in this process. You have to learn to work in this type of way because it's tiring. Like, I remember coming from my internship for the first 2 weeks, and I was so tired. I was there for like 4 hours. I got home and I'm like, oh my God, I could like take a nap, and I had to eat. Like, I mean, I eat all the time, but when your body's like, give me brain food, I need it, you burned all of it. Yeah. So that for me would be what's going on. So when you're in internship, like now I'm in internship and I have clients and I'm running groups, it becomes easier, right? So I learned how to deal with the stress of being up there and me having to facilitate all on my own. So I'm sitting there and all these people are looking at me like, hello, like, you're running the group. And then in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm running the group. There's nobody here to rescue me, right? So just learning to sit in discomfort, learning to sit there and really observe the room, and seeing what the clients are doing, and you have to make sure you take notes after, and just being aware of what your job is and what it entails is it's the whole part of the learning, right? So let's get to the end. I'm almost at the end, right? So I have 1 more semester and 2 months, and then I'll be done. So pretty much right now, when we had our midterm evaluation, the teacher's like, okay, you guys have your skills, you're facilitating, you're running private sessions. And now what I'm seeing is the whole process of the client, from intake to discharge, and being able to handle that. And I know people work in different capacities. There's people that just have individual people once a week and they have a caseload of 15. I'm at a place where right now I'm working specifically with certain people, but I get to see all the clients every day. But yeah, you're learning how to start and finish and do documentation from start to finish. And then when you kind of understand that, then you can have 10 clients and you can do the whole process for all of them. So it's a building block of learning. So what I would encourage you guys to do is be present, take in what's going on. Don't try to jump and do the most, because the beauty of becoming a good therapist is in little baby steps that you learn every day and that you reflect on. So yeah, and I think that would make you a very good therapist when you have the ability to reflect and to give yourself the time to learn how to do this, because it's a skill, it's a new career, it's something that's not going to happen overnight. It's things that you have to process yourself and know yourself in new ways, which is exciting, right? So I'm excited for the last leg of this journey, and I will share it with you guys. Until then, catch me over at Katie Counseling over on Instagram. DM me if you have any questions, and have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.